Enokiam, being a compilation of all available sources, both in print and on the internet, and containing the temple construction record of a thaumaturge, along with new translations of the Holy Table of Practice publication in Class C. Frater Apollonius 4 = 7a. Introduction. The central problem with Enokian magic has been threefold. First, in reviving the ancient and obscure record of Dr. John Dee and Edward Kelly, the Golden Dawn very quickly and creatively started devising their own system, adding elements to it that were not the original intent of those preterhuman sources that Dee and Kelly were in contact with. This has led to a major confusion to what actually Enokiam might be and what is really a blend of Golden Dawn and Enokian ideas. On this particularly, Enokian chess and truncated pyramids, as well as Egyptian gods, are not a part of the Enokian system prescribed by these preterhuman intelligences, referred to as angels. The second problem is that the original documents themselves are both inconsistent and in several cases changed and reworked, and in some cases, there's only a partial recovery of missing or destroyed records. The third problem is that there is a host of erroneous and scattered information both in formal publication and on the internet. This has led to errors in lettering on the Holy Table of Practice, confusion as to the importance of various tables, and even a misassignment of the planets for the all-important ensigns of creation. A study of Cornelius Agrippa and Crowley's own notes on his Enokian work has corrected this. As if all of this wasn't difficult enough, there's one major problem that so far, very few people seem to even want to overcome. The Enokian system was meant to be practiced and understood in Enokian and not in English. It seems everyone has decided to use English lettering and completely ignore the reception of the angelic alphabet from the preterhuman intelligences that communicated it to humanity. For Thelemites, the problem is integral. If we so revere Liber Alabama Villegas because of the preterhuman connection with its revelation, why would we then rebuke these same, possibly Nephilitic contacts when it comes to Enokian magic? This error is compounded when we consider the fact that most of Thelemic doctrine is revealed through Crowley in his screening of the 30 others in Liber CDXVIII. Even the Holy Table, as will be shown below, is a prophecy that reveals the advent of the Eon of Horus by announcing the incarnation of Babylon and the Beast. Kenneth Grant would say that it opened the equals gate for the Thelemic energies. However, this document is not presented so that one can become some sort of Enokian purist. Rather, the intent is to show Enokian as an evocatory system that is not only complete in and of itself, but has an important connection to Thelema. The Golden Dawn really used the system for scrying and heavily immersed itself in working its truncated pyramid system. Not included in this work, that the Jews have the half, we can see clearly that Enokian draws heavily from Jewish lore, also the foundation of the Kabbalah. We find then, a direct bridge between the Jewish half and all that Thelema would come to be. And this being a part of the Merkaba, apocalyptic tradition that in itself evolves directly from the pseudepigraphical book of Enoch. This is a system built on tablets that fold, one into another. The recursive nature of information that comes at various times and places holds some synchronistic merit that adds to the spiritual credulity of Dee and Kelly's work. Even more important, this spiritual credulity points to the scientific actuality of the preternatural beings that communicated this knowledge, this occult. 2 important exceptions to this are the Sta and the Heptagon Stellar, both being rendered in English, and compels the tables derived from them to remain in English. This is significant if we are to consider English as a holy language, as suggested by Alabama. Also, though other tabs were given in English, there are instructions by Raphael to transliterate them. The other exception is the ring with 2 Latin words, Pele and LVX. Science should especially be fully investigated by Thelemites, as we've placed a primal significance on such preternatural communication. We therefore start with the Enokian alphabet as it is the core of the system, though that system was first communicated with English letters. But everything starts with the tablet of knowledge, which gives the key to the great table of the ethers. The 12x7 tables then give us the layman and is formed by the sigillum Deum Meth, which is the key to the entire system, and from which we get the names of the heptarchical kings. These are then arranged on the tabula angelorum bonorum, creating planetary and hourly attributions. Next is the tabula collecta, which is outside all these connections and is in need itself of further exploration. Following this are the evocations of the heptarchical kings, their seals and the ensigns of creation upon which those seals are to be placed. Next comes the watchtowers and their apocalyptic emblems, which are then connected to the great table from which the larger proportion of angelic entities are named, and as well, from which we get the 30 others and their governors. Finally, there is the largely unexplored Liber Loa Geith, from which it seems an important amount of preternatural information is concealed. Considering the breadth and depth that the 30 others added to Thelema it seems there's much more that should be of interest to Thelema that is contained within these tables, and it seems important that this work be undertaken. Most important, so many into Enokiam seem to have really forsaken the alphabet and the language of the angels. They choose rather to work with the English alphabet. This really doesn't make much sense. If this alphabet was given and instructions given to use it, it seems that ignoring this, one would really be winding a path away from the egregor of the system. And considering the efficacy and potency of the system, even for those already using it in English, there must yet be a greater potency to be found. The angelic or Enokian alphabet. Orthography. Letter name Paviged Galoran Graph. Pronunciation of letter name if different, or Hundgrappa in. The throat English equivalent BCGDFE. Orthography. Letter name Talgon. Gone with point or males Geardrux. Pronunciation of letter name. If different, stall or stolnik, as it were in the throat our matchelskier throw. English. Equivalent my YHLPQN. Orthography. Letter name Palmed Don Sephan Famous pronunciation of letter name if different Alkef English equivalent XORZUST. The Enokian alphabet was transcribed by Edward Kelly with the manner of its reception penned in his diary, but it is to be noted that when K could not aptly imitate the form of the characters or letters as they were shewed, that then they appeared drawn on his paper with a light yellow color, which he drew the black upon, and so the yellow color disappearing, there remained only the shape of the letter in black. In his record, he describes the nature of the letters themselves, from a conversation with the angel Illinois, who may be one of the sons of light. But like Nelvich and others he communicated with, this angel may be outside the given hierarchy. And first I think that those letters of our Adamical alphabet have a due peculiar unchangeable proportion of their forms, and likewise that their order is also mystical. Illinois, these letters represent the creation of man, and therefore they must be in proportion. They represent the workmanship wherewithal the soul of man was made like unto his Creator. A note on pronunciation. Overall, the alphabet, like the Hebrew alphabet, is mostly consonants, with the words formed from it being mostly consonants. The vowel sounds that connect the letters are then naturally derived with the sounding out of the consonants. Some additional notes on the consonants are shown below. The letter equals C apostrophe C can be pronounced with an equals or equals K apostrophe sound. The letter equals G apostrophe get G can be pronounced with a equals G apostrophe or equals J apostrophe sound. The letters equals E and equals Y apostrophe gone I are accepted English transliterations. As with the Hebrew alphabet, the same goes for equals A and equals V apostrophe than U. The letters equals PH apostrophe together may be pronounced equals F apostrophe, as in English. Also, equals CH apostrophe may be pronounced as the Greek chi, or as equals TCH apostrophe. There are further similarities to other languages. For instance, equals O is pronounced equals F, which is reminiscent of Greek, and a key to show how Crowley used the equals F apostrophe for an equals O sound in Libers Samic and Regali. Because of the many similarities to the Hebrew alphabet, it seems reasonable to surmise that the letter equals Q apostrophe J or Q should be pronounced gutturally, as the Semitic kaf or kaf. The English sound equals Q is also used in Enokian. The letter equals Z apostrophe has been shown to sometimes have the pronunciation equals Zod, being consistent with a 16th century name of the letter Z. But it is also pronounced Z, as in English. Enokian alphabet, gematria and letter essences. In Merrick Casaubon's, a true and faithful relation of what passed for so many years between Dr. John Dee and some spirits, we get the following quote. Gabriel. Every letter signifieth the member of the substance whereof it speaketh. Every word signifieth the quiddity of the substance. The letters are separated, and in confusion, and therefore are by numbers gathered together, which also gathered signify number, for as every greater conteneth his lesser, so are the secret and unknown forms of things knit up in their parents, where being known in number they are easily distinguished, so that herein we teach places to be numbered, letters to be elected from the numbered, and proper words from the letters, signifying substantially the thing that is spoken of in the center of his Creator, whereby even as the mind of man moved at an ordered speech, and is easily persuaded in thing that were true, so are the creatures of God stirred up in themselves, when they hear the words wherewithal they were nursed and brought forth, for nothing moveth that is not persuaded, neither can anything be persuaded that is unknown. Drawing on the quote and recognizing that every letter contains an essence of students, Patricia Schaefer's equals letter essences are also included. To quote from the introduction to her work, "These are the essences, which I have attributed to the individual letters. As I understand it, each letter represents a sound, which is universal to the mind of man, and so, the essential meaning echoes within every spoken language. The shapes of the letters or glyphs may vary, but the sound is what imparts the meaning. Each of the individual letters reflects a pure sound, but certain combinations, for example, CH, SH, PH, give mixed sounds, and thus, the meanings of such dyads are subtly enhanced." Note that she differentiates between the letters A and Y as well as U and V, but her take on using sounds to represent archetypal qualities in human consciousness is not all that different from the symbolic representation of the English alphabet in Liber 805. BPPE pure one ina. Root of choice, duality, multiplicity, choose between. KK2. Root of causation, make, cause, create, because of 2. GG get fortuna major 3 queuing northern declination root of negation, not, none, nothing, nor 3. DD gal 4. Root of possibility, possible, potential. 2 here, Patricia Schaefer uses the English letter equals C apostrophe indicating a soft sound and has provided no essence for the hard sound of equals K3 nostis, silent G is not. FF fourth caught Draconis 5. Root of manifestation, manifest, show, appear. Anamitio 16. Root of time, begin, beginning, new, anew, again, then, one. Graph albus 7 sync. Root of will, intend, purpose, intention. Taltris Fisha 8 wink. Root of knowledge, mind, no, awareness, knowledge. Igon acquisitio 9 vini. As equals E root of energy enablement, energize, enable, ability as equals Y apostrophe root of increase, grow, increase, more, faster. Na half 10. Root of breath, life. LL via 20 rhyme decreasing root of primacy, first, primary, 1, providence. PP males populist 30 rhymed increasing root of establishment, space, place, put, set, here, there, where. QQ Jira 40. Root of desire, love. Run 50. Root of interiority, within, inside, selfhood. XX PAL 60. Root of limitation decrease, limit, lessen, lower, slower. Med Puella 70 ting. Root of being becoming, existence. RR Donley Tisha 80 Vinal. Root of movement, move, motion, emotion, motivate, change. ZZ Sef Fortuna minor 90 queuing southern declination root of division, divide, separate, other than, parts of. UU Val Carcer 100 wink. As equals a root of light, enlightenment as equals V apostrophe root of darkness, dark, hidden, therefore, unknown, reflection. SS fame conjunctio 200 synth. Root of possession, have, acquire, gather, together. TT Gissa Capit Draconis 300 root of balance, justice, adjust, judge, equilibrate. The ring. The angels told D that the ring, presented to him, holds the same symbols as the one Solomon used to control demons. A rectangular plate was attached to a plain band, with the letters Pele, Latin for he will work wonders, inscribed in each of the 4 corners, written clockwise, starting from the upper left. And in the center was a circle with the horizontal line through it. The letter V is placed above the horizontal line, and the letter L is placed below that line. The circle with the line suggests the Greek letter Teth for, from which we can deduce a cross, tau, or the letter X. From this, we get the word for light, LVX. It has been said that this was probably designed for D personally, but with L, V, X being the formula of the attainment of the holy guardian angel, there not only seems to be no harm in using this, but it can act as a focalizer. It seems more appropriate that the thaumaturgist hold the wand to show regal authority. Something like the ring would have the name of God on it, aligning one's etheric energy with the source of all energy. 4 also used to spell Therian in Greek. The tablet of Malvich. The table above is as traditionally presented in all the literature on Enokiam. The table below is transliterated into Enokiam as directed by Raphael. CONFUNDANTES. CONF. I. R. M-A. N-T. E-S. L-O-U-D-A-N-T. E-S. H-C-R-V. IDZILOIGODHVMZRVRRCABNAFOSSDZSIABRDILANG. MINISTRANTES. The tablet of Nelvich was the first table produced from the D. and Kelly's sessions, no practical directions for its use being found. It has been suggested that it might be effective as a layman or breastplate for Enokiam evocation. An angelic being was contacted, who called himself Nelvich, described in D's record. He had a gown of white silk, with a cape with 3 pendants with tassels on the end of them, all green. It is fur, white and seemeth to shine, with a wavering glittering. On his head is nothing, he had no beard. His physiognomy is like the pictures of King Edward VI. His hair hangeth down a quarter of the length of the cap, somewhat curling, yellow. He had a rod or wand in his hand, almost as big as my little finger. It is of gold and divided into 3 equal parts, with a brighter gold than the rest. He standeth upon his round table of crystal, or rather mother of pearl. The table consists of an 6 by 6 inner portion, surrounded by 4 names of 4 letters. Each corner of the inner portion contains the letters Id, an angelic word for God. The inner portion is divided into 4 3 by 3 tables, called continents by the angel Nelvich. Each of these contains 3 angelic words, written diagonally, which describe the nature of that section. Reading the lines of the section horizontally gives the names of 3 groups of angels. Nelvich described the table. 1. Its substance is attributed to God the Father. 2. The first circular mover, the circumference, God the Son, the finger of the Father, and the mover of all things. 3. The order and knitting together of the parts in their due and perfect proportion, God the Holy Ghost. Lo, in the beginning and end of all things. Substance is used here in the philosophical senses of essence and something considered as a continuous whole. The unbroken continuity of divine source is expressed in the duality of the ether, its equals logos in the outer ring of the table, along with its spirit reflected in the equals inner continents. As a recursion, the arrangement of the continents is reflected into the positions of the elemental tablets in the great table. Nelvich adds to his description of the table. Lo, it is divided into 4 parts, whereof 2 are dignified, 1 not yet dignified but shall be, the other without glory or dignification. Looking at each section of the tablet, we start with Godim. IDZOIMZR. The upper left corner of 3 letters is Id, which means God in Enokiam. From the bottom left corner, diagonally across, are 3 letters, MOZ, which means joy in Enokiam. And Zir in the lower right corner, gives us the phrase in Enokiam that translates as equals I am. This can be constructed to say, I am the joy of God. Nelvich focuses on the word MOZ and says, MOZ in itself signifies joy, but by extending the pronunciation of Z, we get Mozit signifying equals joy to God. The top line of the first section, giving us the letters D in reverse order, the name of the angelic choir that administers joy. The next line, Iowa is the angelic choir who are with us, when called, and fill us with their power. The third line is RZM, those who praise. The next section of the tablet gives us the letters, Presentia. SIGODVRR. Id is in the upper right on this table, together with Gur and Sor, can be translated to mean, the facts of God's actions. IAS on the top line is translated as, those of power, Dog translates as the choir of motion, and RRV translates as the choir of those who administer. The third section of the tablet gives us the letters, Laudants or Triumphants. FOSSERDI. In this section, Id is in the lower right-hand corner, giving us Serosphide, which means, the discord and lamentation of God. The lines of the third section give us SOF, meaning, those who give grief. AES, meaning, those who sow discord, and IDER, meaning, those who create chaos. The fourth section of the tablet gives us the letters, 5. B and DZIB. In this section, Id starts in the lower left-hand corner, giving us Snababide, which translates as, God's power in motion. Nelvich then points to the first line in the first section of the tablet and gives the name equals Godim, which means joy. He then names the next line equals Presentia and the third equals Laudants or equals Triumphants, meaning those who praise. These are taken as the offices of the angelic group for this section. The horizontal lines give us angels of action, Zid, meaning those who do deeds, and Bi as those who establish. Outside these 4 sections are 4 sections of 4 letters that give us 4 names, shown below. Langminstrants, those who minister, Sachconfirmantes, those who confirm, Urchconfundants, those who confound, Laudants, those who praise. 5. This has no glory, triumphants, and no dignification, name. It would seem that Godim and Presentia are dignified. Triumphant shall be as it has no name, dignification, but is set to be proclaimed unnamed. Putting the names of his sections together, we get, the joy of God is the move, which is also the sorrow of God. Hence this motion describes the nature of power and also corresponds with the message of the table of 12 presented below. Sigillum Dei Meth. The Sigillum Dei Meth, seal of God's truth. Crafted of wax, the seal is used to secure the shoe stone in the center of the holy table of practice. Upon the table and over the ensigns of creation, a red and green cloth was thrown with the step over this to support the shoe stone. Along with this, 4 smaller versions of the step is placed underneath the legs of the holy table to insulate the work from the world of man. This can be construed to be a symbolic representation of the vision of Jacob's ladder, which took place on Mount Moriah, where the ascension of Enoch to Metatron took place. The Hebrew word for ladder is MLS, Selim, which has a value of 130 and equal to the word Nes, Sinai, the mountain where the Torah was received from Metatron by Moses. Kabbalistically, the vision of the ladder refers to Jacob's sitk of Kether in Tefereth. The tree of life is also known as He Selim or the ladder of lights. The letters, numbers and symbols of the seal were dictated separately from the presentation of the image of the overall design of the seal. The dictation begins with the outer ring. It is divided into quarters, with each quarter is broken into 10 pieces, to form 8 sets of 5 pieces, 40 in total, probably connecting with the 4 elements of the elemental tablets. Each of these sections is then filled with either a letter or letters, or a number and a letter, starting at the top, starting with the Greek W or Omega, with some of the A's also being regarded as the Greek alpha, and in a clockwise direction. The numbers associated with the letters indicated how many spaces laid between the current letter and the next. If the number was on top, the next letter was that many spaces to the right, clockwise, and if it were on the bottom, to the left, counterclockwise. By beginning at the capitals, and working to the letters without numbers, 7 names of God are formed. The names are to be pronounced without the doubling of the A's. The whole system is based on the number 76. Between the outer ring and the next heptagon are 7 symbols, 1 in each space, along with numbers in all but 1. These, by looking at them as letters, read anti-clockwise from the left of the top, read Galtog, 7 as in the name of God from the outer ring. The numbers refer to the letters associated with the numbers from the outer ring, that is the 5 next to the G, is the number of the G in the outer ring at about the 10 o'clock position. The rest of the numbers are the same, and they all follow the sequence of the original outer ring name, that is 5 clockwise, 24 anti-clockwise, etc. All the letters in the outer circle represent the first letter of a 40-lettered name for an angel. The letter Tau is found just to the right of the 12 o'clock position under the number 4 and poorly displayed in our graphic, and is a name of God. Just past the 9 o'clock position on the outer circle is a large letter A, which is the only letter not used for God names. From this, we can derive 3 names, Abara, Aoth and Algal, the demon star, which can be set into the following symbol, 6. A66. While all the other angels seem to have practical uses, the angels of Vista seem to be about getting information on the Enokian system itself. 6. The alphabet is composed of 21 letters or 3x7. 7 each letter individually represents a throne of God. Inside the heptagon are the 7 lines of Table I, the 20th of March 1582, written 1 line per side. These lines when reformed in a table and read form commonly known angels' names. Inside that heptagon are the 7 lines of Table II, the 21st of March 1582, written 1 line per space. These lines when reformed in a table and read, form the 7 angels' names which appear again in the center of the seal, around the pentacle. In and around the septacle, 7-pointed star and inner heptagon are the names of the 7 women, men, wenches and boys, formed from Table II. The inner pentacle contains the angelic names derived from Table II, with the exception of Sabbathil, which should be spelled Sabbathil. The letters within the points of the pentacle as MS and C are said to denote Enokiam, using the initial letters of a Hebrew sentence. They are the angels of the circles of heaven, the Hekaloth, Zedekiel, Madimiel, Semeliel, Noganiel and Korabel. As Hebrew letters, Zain, Mem Samik, Nun and Jeth, they equal 165, which reduces to 12 and indicates the zodiac. 165 in the English Kabbalah gives us the word equals enlightenment, which speaks for itself, but is particularly interesting when 165 also gives us the Hebrew word for Nemo, master of the temple. The number also gives us a Hebrew preposition from Psalm XXV, v. 14, to make them know. Knowing or gnosis is the function of the Enokian system, through its special method of revelation. The numbers sum to 440, which is the value of the Hebrew word for death, tm. Michael completed the presentation of the outer ring by displaying a number 1, surrounded by many concentric circles. Adding this 1 as a kalel brings the total of the numbers presented to 441, which by Hebrew gematria is the numeration of the word ameth, tma, the word that animates the golem and means equals truth. The letters of the word ameth spell the word equals truth, the force of this Sagittarian manifestation, telling us that life itself is the truth and that we are equals dead without this truth. And they also represent 3 of the 4 elements, T, A, and M. These 3 elements are the preparation for receiving the divine fire that brings spiritual enlightenment, stma, or the holy. 7 of the letters are capitalized, indicating the first letters of certain concealed angelic names. To find the names of these angels, D was instructed to use the numbers connected with each letter. Where the number was above the letter, he was to count that many letters clockwise to find the next letter of the name. Where the number was below the letter, he was to count counterclockwise. Each name ended when he reached one of the 6 letters without a number, and 7 names were produced. Tha'aoth, Gloss, Gethog, Herlin. The second O is actually a lowercase omega, Inan, Aoth, Galtog. D was instructed to strike out the first A of the double A's in the first 2 names, to produce the names Theoth and Galas. When this is done, the 7 names comprise 40 letters, the same as the number of letters in the outer ring of the sigil. Of these 7 names the angel Uriel said, every letter containing an angel of brightness, comprehending the 7 inward powers of God, known to none but himself, a sufficient bond to urge all creatures to life or death, or anything else contained in this world. These angels then, should be invoked for congealing the soul. Congealing the soul. Exploring Hebrew, Greek and Enokian root etymologies can help us to assign meanings to these names as follows. Galis plus El Saturn, a Greek name of the highest celestial sphere. Note that in many Semitic cosmologies, El is the first god as El means first in Enokian. From El root Gal, relates to the concept of liberation and redemption. Gethog plus Og Jupiter, verified in Liber Tertius. Og is a famous city in the Bible where Baal was worshipped as Jupiter, recently excavated with many archaeological astronomical alignments. From the Arabic GT, meaning repel the hand that helps it. Theoth _ moon, form of Thoth, Egyptian moon god. A is Alpha, Aleph and the first names in the sta, and possibly the Hebrew Tha limit, circumscribes, defines. Horn plus H, Mercury, lunar Mercury in the monad. Note the LWN as a homonym for our lunar, lunatic, etc. Hor as a title of Horus. The Hebrew Ho relates to a binding force of nothingness to something. Inan Z Mars, found in the greater key of Solomon to compel appearance. From the root in, equals united manifestation. Aoth T Venus, Isis, the rosy cross, also suggesting the Azoth of alchemy. From the Hebrew meaning equals in defense of something, and VTH, relating to difficulty in movement. Galtog plus G Sun, solar Mercury, the hieroglyphic monad, possibly related to Galgalim or wheels of Merkaba Kabbalism, as well as to Galva, the mother of the family of lights found in the sta. No mention is made of the remaining letters in the outer ring, not used to form these names. Only the last of these names appears overtly in the sigil, in the arcs immediately inside the outer ring. To each letter of Galtog, a cross was appended to produce a set of sigil-like images, giving them an hieroglyphic or archetypal quality. These sigils were placed, one to each arc, counterclockwise around the sigil of Ameth, seeming to be the name of God by which the angels of the sta are invoked. The issue here would be to figure out what the proper pronunciation of this word would be. Of these sigils Uriel said, those 7 letters are the 7 seats of the one and everlasting God. His 7 secret angels proceeding from every letter and cross so formed, referring in substance, that is, in essence, to the Father, in form, to the Son, and inwardly to the Holy Ghost. The letters in the outermost heptagon, just inside the arcs, are derived from the names of the 7 angels who stand before the presence of God, listed in Agrippa's 3 books of occult philosophy. Each of these names was seen, inscribed on a talisman, on the breast of a bird, with obvious alchemical symbolism. The names of these angels are written vertically in a 7x7 grid. In the final square is placed a cross, representing the earth. Thus we have the planetary archangels of Agrippa, which it seems may be appealed to when invoking the angels of the sta, after first appealing to the mysterious name of God noted above. Planetary archangel sphere title. Zevkia Bina beholder of God, Sadkiel chest righteous of God, Camille Gbura burner of God, Raphael Tefereth God has healed. Haniel Netzach glory or grace of God, Michael Hod, who is as God, Gabriel yes I God is my strength. The remaining divine and angelic names in the sigil are all derived, by various means, from the names of the traditional planetary archangels, which are written within and around the pentagram at the center of the sigil. As with the above table, the derivation was only demonstrated after the names were presented. This served to demonstrate that the angels were working from knowledge not available to Dee and Kelly, and were therefore more than figments of the magician's imaginations. The names of the planetary archangels were formed into a 7x7 tablet, by writing them diagonally from the upper left corner in standard Kabbalistic order beginning with the Archangel of Saturn. The final L of each name was replaced in the tablet by numbers, usually appended to the preceding letter.